All right, today I am going to show you how you can very easily add a subscribe button to your website using our InfiniBuilder. We actually have two options for you, so let's get started. First of all, make sure you are logged into the website and then navigate to the page you want to add this form to. I'm actually going to add it to one of our articles, actually all of our articles. So let me just pick an article, and then if I actually want to change the article, I'll go in here, singular post. So this doesn't change the actual article, it changes the layout for all articles. So let me just do that, and you'll see it actually will bring up a different article from several years ago. But I want to add a subscribe button to like below the actual article, maybe right above the comments. So pro tip, if you can't find the module you're looking for, we have a little search bar right here. So I'm just going to say subscribe. Oop, there we go. So we have subscribe form and subscription form. So they're in two different places. If you don't know this, if you're not used to clicking around in the website, you have standard modules, and that's what comes up first. We also have more advanced modules that you have a little more control of in the InfiniBuilder modules. So standard. So let's just go back here and subscribe. And let's start with the easy one. So if you're not really picky about what the form needs to do, we can just start with the subscribe form. And this one's very quick. So you can see it's in there. If I wanted to resize it, I could just drag here. But I'm already editing it, but just to make sure. Okay. First, I need to pick the service that I'm using. So we use Mailchimp. I've actually already tied our Mailchimp account to the website, so I just have to say InfiniSystems. Now, if this is your first time doing this, you will need to go to Mailchimp or whatever service you're using and get an API key. So I've already done that. It's already set up and ready to go. Then you'll need to choose a list. So we're going to put this to the newsletter list. And then you can see that we have a few options, stacked versus inline. Yeah, I like that inline. That looks good. I can choose whether or not I want to show the name field. If you just want email address, then that's great. I want the name field. Now, to be clear, and this is one of the differences between the easy form and let's say the more advanced form, this is name. So, you could say in here that you actually want, first name, and you just get first name and email address. You don't get the option to also collect their last name. So I might just leave this as name and then leave it to the person to interpret however they want. So I can also choose to add terms and conditions. Something where they have to check that to actually subscribe. So I might say something like, we don't share your info, but we do email you about once a month. Okay, so that's in there. It will be in there. Maybe. Save. There we go. So they would then have to check that box to actually subscribe. Let me go back into there in the settings really quick. Okay, so that's everything for this first. Oop, no, it's not. I knew I was wrong. Okay, so notification subject. So this can choose to, you can basically have a message. Whenever they actually do hit subscribe, you'll have this message that pops up, thanks for subscribing, and you can change that. You can also choose to just redirect them to a page instead. So if you wanted to redirect them to, maybe it's a different website, or maybe you had a download. It was a PDF download you're giving them for subscribing, whatever it is, you can do that right here. Let's see, let's go over to the button. So we can obviously change the color of the button. We can add an icon if we wanted to. We could change the verbiage. I don't like the exclamation point. Let's see. There is a style somewhere. Flat. Okay, so let's say I didn't want the flat button. I could change it to gradient. Or there's an animation. It's already disabled. That's pretty much it for the button. Now, CAPTCHA. If you have CAPTCHA, if you sign up for CAPTCHA, you could add that here. You can choose if you want, there's 3 different versions. Typically, we just use Invisible. Version 3, I think, but that is totally up to you. This one, the I'm not a robot checkbox, is also fine. Then sometimes you'll get the pictures where you have to pick out of the 9 pictures, pick the ones that have a bridge in them. I personally hate those, but it also, we have those for a reason. It helps keep your list clean and keep robots and spiders and hackers and all these bad things away from your list. So basically, it's not really important for your Mailchimp form, but let's say this was a contact form on your website. You really need a CAPTCHA on that. So we'll just skip this. We can also change the theme, but for now, we're going to turn that off. And there's nothing we really need in advanced. So let me just save this. Let's say this is done. So that was, the standard version of the module. Now let's go to subscribe. All right, let's get the more advanced version, and we'll put them side by side, or top and bottom, so you can see the difference. Already, there's a pretty big difference. We have a built-in heading and subheading, which we can change right here. We're already attached to Mailchimp, and I would choose my list or my account, then my list. Oops. Newsletter. Let's see. So I'm going to leave this as it is for our purposes of this tutorial. We don't need to change any of this stuff. But here's where it gets cool. So show first name, yes. Show last name, yes. And now we actually can get first and last name, and of course email address. And you can change the placeholders right here. We can the standard is your name, and that's what shows up right here. So you could change that. I don't think there's any need to. Let me scroll back up here and scroll down over here. Okay. So here's our text below. You might say something, we send you an email once a month, blah, 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 whatever. And then we have our terms and conditions again. So we can choose to show that. We can change what this says. And then please go through blah, 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 put your actual terms and conditions right there. And then we have our success message. And this is the same kind of thing where we can show the message or we can redirect. Let's go. Is that it? Yes. Okay. That's it for this one. Let's go to style. So this is a little different. You might think that like the text and everything is controlled under style. It's not. It's actually under typography. Even the button text is under typography. So we can choose, let's see. Let's change the stacked from stacked to inline. So that will put everything all in one. There we go. And if I wanted to center that, it changes everything. Which, depending on your website's design, that might be the way to go. I'm going to leave it to the left. I can change padding and stuff in here. I'm going to leave that alone. Let's see. This is really getting into like granular stuff. So if I wanted to change, there's 2 different preset styles. This is, this might actually work really well for your site. I personally like the style 1 better. But a lot of this too is just playing around and seeing what you like, what fits your website and what fits your your eye's design, something like that. Okay. So the button, subscribe. That's fine. We have a couple different styles, flat, gradient again, 3D, which, I can see maybe a subtle edge there that makes it look kind of 3D. I'm a big fan of flat. So you could also change your hover style. There are different options based on what you choose up here. The best thing is just to play with it, save the page, and change the setting, save the page, and take a look and see how that acts and if you like that or if you don't like that. Again, we can add an icon, and we're just gonna leave all that how it is. So let's go to typography because I like this form, but I really hate this subscribe button. And it's not the button itself, it's the text. So we have heading typography, subheading typography, bottom text. We have basically for all the different pieces that make up this one module, there is control for it. So button text is where I want to go. First of all, I hate that line. I'm going to get rid of that line. None. All right. So let's go to font. I also want that to be, I want it to be white. I think I do that over in button, of all things. Okay, so text color. Let's go with not black. Let's go with white. There we go. So that changed the text color. I've already got rid of the underline, which makes it look a lot better. But I also want to make that bold. Better, much better. And you know what? Let's make it all caps. There we go. I like that. So you could adjust spacing and all kinds of other things. And you can do that for each piece. You can do that for the input boxes, for the headings. Here, let's do a heading really quick. You can say that this right here, this top heading is an H3 tag, which that's the highest it would be. You wouldn't go with an H2 because you probably have an H2 on your page already. It might even be an H4. The idea is that the title of your page, what your page is really about, is an H1, and then everything else, it's kind of like an outline. So there's a hierarchy, and you can have multiple H4s underneath an H3, but you wouldn't just go from an H2 to an H4. So, and you'll see the size does change when I change it. That's because we have default settings for sizes of headings in all of our websites. Now, if you want to change that, if that's, let's say you need it to be an H3, but that is just too big, then we can come in here and actually change the size. So we have a slider and we can see, okay, that's right there. That's what I want, 31. So that's that. Let's see if there's anything else down here. Terms, conditions, typography, all that. And then it's just advanced. So that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go ahead and hit save. And you can see there are the two different ways of adding a subscribe form to your newsletter or whatever your email list is. Like I said, the top one works fine, works great. They work the exact same way. But if you need to add a little more intentional design to it, or need to collect a first name and last name, you're better off using the more advanced form under InfiniBuilder Modules. And if you can't find any modules, you can always use the search bar. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below or shoot us an email to support@infini.systems.